Welcome to Empowerment Radio. My name is Dr. Friedemann, and I'm so glad that you decided to join me. Empowerment Radio is about giving you the insights, tools, and solutions to address some of the most challenging aspects of our daily lives. So sit back, relax, and empower yourself.
Being aware of the state of your heart is a wonderful way just to get more into that space and start that journey, which some say is the longest journey, which is from the head to the heart, and really make the goal of it not just to, judge your heart as, oh, look, it's still closed, oh, it's still heavy, but more as something you are open and curious about what it needs. Maybe your heart needs more lightness and more joy, and maybe your heart, that basement there, needs someone to help you to clear it up and release some of the baggage that may have been stored for a long time. But again, the curiosity of figuring out what is actually my heart telling me about how to go through life, that is something that is expanding your awareness. And it's, as I said before, making your life not only more fulfilled, but it's slowing down time. And that heartful way of living is also a part of being open to be different. So the second step or key or secret or whatever you want to call it is detached flexibility. And what I mean with that is being aware of how many things and how many aspects of your life you're actually attached to. In Buddhism, they say that attachment is the root of all suffering. And I totally agree with that, because we can get attached to our routines, and all of a sudden we are the prisoner of us having to go through 6 o'clock, getting to the gym, 6:45, having our energy drink or whatever, and then just you don't really have any freedom to be any different. We can be attached to our comfort zones. We can be attached to our opinions and always feeling like we are right and everyone else is wrong. We can be attached to our identities and believing, well, this is how we are supposed to be. And this is how we are, how we have been for a long time. So there's nothing else to discover. So the attachment that we are carrying around is clearly limiting us from living in a more full and fulfilling way. And when I was in Egypt, I just noticed how often we had to be detached, detached from certain comforts, detached also from certain plans. I mean, we visited temples, and we always liked to find a spot where we could do some meditation or inner work. And well, you don't want to be surrounded by hundreds of tourists as you're doing this, so you're waiting for that time to open up to do that work. And the beauty about it is it always happened. You couldn't really plan it, but somehow being in that flow and just knowing that, yeah, well, now this idea is not working out. I'm curious to see what will work out. That detachment and being flexible to have a different outcome or a different experience other than you were expecting, that created a lot of magical moments. Every time I moved, and I moved a lot, every time I moved to a different place or a different country, I had a clean slate. And it was this feeling like, oh, wow, I am actually free of all those attachments of how I used to live, how people used to see me, of how I went about my day, or the identities I was holding on to. And it felt incredibly freeing. Detachment allows you to experience yourself in a whole new way. And that is something, that freedom cannot be filled by, oh, how can I, as fast as possible, think myself into a different role or in a different way of having to go about life. Just when you have detached, also be flexible enough to listen to what else is possible. What does it feel inside of my heart, what I really want to do, and what feels like, I'm drawn to. For me, when I came to Seattle, it was about my heart telling me, well, I want to actually try something new. And this new thing I wanted to try was yoga. And that one yoga I was really drawn to was Kundalini yoga. And I just followed the heart, and I followed, the class that I wanted to go to. And then there was this summer solstice camp I felt like I should go to. So there was a flow. There was a heart-centered flow, which led me then to meet my wife, and led me then to basically change my entire life. And it was really just to be flexible, not going back to the old things I knew, but just being open to something else. A client of mine, a friend of mine actually told me the story of another form of detached flexibility, which I find is so beautiful. She had done a lot of inner work, and she had really evolved spiritually and personally, and her old job just didn't feel right anymore. She just felt like, well, the environment and what I'm doing, that doesn't have any greater meaning. But sometimes, it was also for her the fear of letting go of that job that, made her basically bite her teeth together and go back in. So her attachment wasn't just to that job. Her attachment was to believing that the job doesn't fit her, the people don't fit her, what she's doing doesn't have any meaning. And then she opened up her heart. And her heart says, wherever you are, there you can also make a contribution. And there you can also shine your light. And so all of a sudden she said, well, what if I change the environment in this corporate office? What if I'm going to be the one who actually is making the change I want to see? And so she started talking with these people in a way that she never talked before. She shared her interests. They discussed astrology. And all of a sudden, these people opened up. And all of a sudden, they discovered that there is a life beyond numbers and to-do lists. And now it's a whole different atmosphere there. They are pulling angel cards in the morning. They are really connecting more on a deeper emotional level. They are curious about each other. And that was all because of that detachment and listening to what the heart actually wanted to have her experience and to want to have her share in her environment. So the practice of detached flexibility can be as simple as you noticing, I am too rigid or I'm getting too contracted with a certain way of being. It can be a routine, it can be an opinion, it can be the way you are expecting from yourself to perform during the day, and just allowing yourself to get out of this attachment, maybe just for a day, and try out something new. So instead of going to the gym, what does our heart say? My heart say, I would love to actually lay longer in bed and maybe do a guided meditation. Or my heart says, I really would like to go into nature rather than to a gym where everyone is sweaty and the air is just air conditioned. I want to go outside and walk in the park. Feel that there is a lot that you can, with simple steps, bring more fulfillment into your life when you let go of those attachments. And when it comes to the coronavirus, just a little side note here, there is an attachment of, this is terrible, this is something we have to be afraid of, this is something that's going to kill us all. And being willing also to detach from that mass consciousness fear that's fed also by the media, and asking yourself, so how can I see this from a different light? And maybe just really, it was interesting. I had like 2 days where all of my clients told me how they see the coronavirus, not just as something to be scared of or a curse, but really as an opportunity. One client told me that it's really so grounding to remember the really essentials in life, the priorities in life. All of a sudden, that person is more connected to the children and more connected to the spouse, and feels more like, paying attention to being present there, and not just, planning already ahead, or, always being somewhere else, but not really in the here and now. Another one told me that it feels that people are coming closer together, similar to after September 11, where there is a greater sense of community, and people are more communicating, and maybe sometimes also, sharing their worries, but there is a compassionate note to this. And some other person told me that they find it fascinating how actually everything is slower because, some work from home, some just don't want to necessarily just go to the malls and run around to kill time. So everything is more deliberate. And I personally saw a picture of China before and after the virus and how much less pollution there is because people stay at home. I know the virus is something that is serious, but there are also ways to look at it in a different way and just seeing, okay, given the circumstances, how can I be more flexible in how I approach it? And again, Facebook Live on the 14th, we'll talk more about that. Now, that third step of the living in a more heartful way is similar, it's connected, but it's a little bit different. And it's about patient allowing. And the difference between being in a detached flexibility where you're kind of staying at a crossroad and you're saying, well, I know that road, well, let's detach from that and see what another road may bring you. Patient allowing is much more about actually sitting still, which is not what we really are used to, and just allowing insights, intuition, but also from the outside, information, guidance come to you that allows you then to make choices that are way more fulfilling than maybe the choices that you're used to do. After the break, we will talk more about the patient allowing and other secrets to that heartful living.